very worried that Prince William could move to strip her of her Duchess of Sussex title when he becomes monarch. Of course, Harry and Meghan remain the Duke and Duchess.
Extraordinary claims that Meghan Markle is threatening to sue the British royal family and Prince William if
Palace walls are shaking again, and this time it's not from any earthquake, it's from pure drama blowing up behind the scenes. Word on the quiet halls of Buckingham and the power corners of London is that Meghan Markle is gearing up for the boldest legal swing the royals have seen in years. Insiders close to her circle claim she's actually getting ready to take Prince William to court if he even thinks about removing her Sussex title once he becomes king.
I just think it's tacky and it's not...
Yes, you heard that right. Meghan, a former cable show actress turned Hollywood operator, seriously believes she can drag the future King of England into a courtroom over a title she never truly owned in the first place. That alone has the whole royal system buzzing like crazy. The reveal hit Buckingham Palace and legal circles like a lightning bolt. Constitutional experts are out here trying not to laugh as they call this the wildest move coming out of that Montecito home yet. But people close to her swear Meghan fully believes she's got a real case. Like she's convinced those years of using Duchess of Sussex on deals, charity events, and media run somehow locked the title in her name forever. And the timing, wow, it says everything. Just weeks after King Charles showed the world what royal power really looks like by removing Prince Andrew's titles with a simple letters patent, Meghan is rumored to be in straight panic mode.
And to the rest of the royal family, we've never heard once since she's shown some sort of gratitude. And look what her life is. I don't mean making bag.
Palace insiders say she's been scrambling from lawyer to lawyer, looking for someone who'll hype up her theory instead of giving her the cold truth about how the Constitution actually works. Royal titles aren't trophies you win or things you earn. They exist only because the monarch says so, and they can disappear in a heartbeat. That's why Meghan's new stance has people shaking their heads, because the irony is wild. She once sat with Oprah saying those titles didn't matter to her, yet now she's gearing up for a full-on legal showdown, just to keep the same styling she claimed she didn't care about. King Charles already made it crystal clear how fast things can change when he took action against Andrew with zero hesitation. In the royal world, status and celebrity don't protect anyone when the crown decides otherwise. But insiders say Meghan's American-style mindset has her convinced she's some kind of exception. She reportedly believes her years flashing the Sussex title in Hollywood somehow give her special rights nobody else has. Her team keeps warning her she's reading the whole system wrong, because monarchy doesn't work like business deals. Titles aren't property, contracts, trademarks, or personal assets. They're gifts from the crown, simple as that, and they can be snatched back anytime. Experts are calling her rumored plan legally weak, almost embarrassing, and some say the boldness is unbelievable. The idea that she's ready to challenge the future king over branding she used for work has lawyers across London stunned. Her logic is that since she used Sussex in her charitable projects and media ventures, she somehow owns it now.
But what a week on Planet Meg. She's here, she's there, she's every bloody where. In Paris, in New York, in Washington, saying this, saying that, and, as always with the Duchess of Jargon, saying nothing that makes any sense.
The legal world isn't buying it for a second. One senior barrister even put it bluntly, saying the title belongs to the crown, full stop, no loopholes, no drama, no confusion. The legal problems just keep piling up, and every one of them makes Meghan's plan look even more impossible. Royal titles are woven into the British constitutional system. They only exist because the monarch says they do, and there is no foreign courtroom on the planet that can interfere with that. Some insiders say Meghan might truly believe an American judge could overrule British constitutional power, but experts are crystal clear about this. No United States court has any authority over the British monarchy's prerogative rights, not even a little bit. Any attempt to push a case like that would get laughed straight out of international law circles. To make things even worse, she hasn't even been using the title the right way. Royal protocol says only blood royals can put the Duke title before their first name, which means Meghan's correct styling is Meghan Duchess of Sussex, not Duchess Meghan, which she keeps using anyway, yet she's ready to fight over a title she hasn't even followed the rules with.
Angela Liv, our royal mastermind, has told the truth about Prince Harry and
Palace insiders say Meghan thinks her situation is completely different from Andrew's case. She's claiming she earned her title through years of service, something royal scholars find straight up unbelievable. Titles in the monarchy are honors, not paychecks or rewards for hours worked. They exist entirely at the sovereign's discretion, and the timing is bold to another level. King Charles just showed how fast and how final these decisions can be when he removed Andrew's titles, and now Meghan is allegedly getting ready to challenge that same authority face to face. Experts say the legal fallout would be brutal because royal titles in Britain simply cannot be challenged in a courtroom. The Crown's prerogative powers are absolute, and there is no judicial review that can touch them. Any plan to sue William or the Crown hits a constitutional wall instantly. The monarch has to personally approve being sued, which means Meghan's whole strategy collapses before it even starts. Legal experts say this makes her idea finished before the first lawyer even files a single paper. Some insiders claim Meghan is thinking about taking the fight to a United States courtroom, like she believes American judges could somehow outrank British constitutional law. But experts on both sides of the ocean are shutting that fantasy down fast. Sovereignty rules are simple. The Crown cannot be dragged into a foreign court, and no American judge can step into British royal territory, not even for a second. Trying a move like that wouldn't just fail, it could spark a massive diplomatic mess. Both governments could be forced to deal with the fallout, something nobody wants.
That it's fallen apart with his brother, because he did say to me one day that he's the only person I can...
And there's another twist that makes the whole thing even messier. Parts of U.S. law, including the Titles of Nobility Amendment and similar statutes, could complicate her citizenship status if she looks like she's placing foreign royal titles above her American loyalty. So in the worst case, she could risk more than the styling she's fighting for. She could end up drawing unwanted attention to her U.S. citizenship too. Palace sources say her timing couldn't be any more wild. King Charles just proved his authority with the rapid removal of Andrew's titles, making it clear how absolute royal power really is. Experts warn that trying to fight the crown with lawsuits doesn't look like bold strategy. It looks like a straight challenge to the monarchy's authority itself. Legal scholars are saying Meghan might be stepping into a constitutional storm without even realizing what she's walking into. If Meghan actually pushes this fight forward, she could shove both governments into a seriously awkward situation. The British government is required to protect royal authority, no questions asked, while the United States would never want to look like it's interfering with another country's constitutional system. Even from a PR angle, the whole thing looks risky and reckless before it even starts. The Andrew situation already showed everyone how fast the crown can move when it decides something is final. His titles were removed clean and quick, and most of the public agreed with the decision. So Meghan thinking she can use headlines or sympathy to overpower centuries of royal rules shows she's reading the whole situation wrong. Experts are warning straight up. Not only would any legal attempt collapse on impact, it could damage her image even further.
Commentary. And an interesting revelation about King Charles and
highlighting her misunderstanding of how constitutional power works could leave her looking embarrassed in both British and American media. And there's another tough reality she can't ignore. Andrew was a blood royal with way more standing, and he still couldn't protect his titles. Meghan, a courtesy duchess with no hereditary claim, has even less protection in the system. Trying to fight something that's already written into the core of the monarchy could end up blowing back harder than she expects. What makes this whole situation even wilder is the massive gap between what Meghan thinks her legal rights are and what the reality actually looks like. Insiders say she truly believes that her business deals and charity work somehow give her ownership over the title, even though constitutional rules say the complete opposite. Experts from every corner of constitutional law agree on one thing. Meghan has no legal standing, no real jurisdiction, and not even a basic foundation to fight royal title decisions. The lesson from the Andrew case already proved this in the bluntest way possible, yet sources say she's reading that moment completely wrong. Instead of understanding that challenging royal authority is a losing battle every time, she seems ready to strike early with a plan experts are calling legally clueless and politically risky. Any wrong move could bring a fast, final decision from the crown, and there would be almost no legal or public resistance holding it back. Her threats also expose just how different the American and British systems really are. In the United States, courts jump into contract fights and property disputes all the time. But in the United Kingdom, the monarchy's authority over titles and honors is absolute. That power isn't shared, questioned, or reviewed. It just stands on its own. Meghan's American-centered mindset is miles away from the constitutional reality she's dealing with now. She might think media coverage or legal strategy can protect her, but the truth is, none of that weakens the crown's legal supremacy. This is one arena where celebrity status and public buzz don't change a single thing. As this whole drama keeps unfolding, palace insiders are reportedly watching with a mix of amusement and disbelief.
And she's currently interviewing candidates to be chief executive mastermind of her business, which people have pointed out.
Legal experts keep calling Meghan's position so weak that it slides straight into embarrassing territory, and they warn that any lawyer who signs up for this would be risking their reputation big time. The Andrew situation already sent the clearest warning shot possible. Titles can disappear instantly. publicly, and without anyone being able to fight it afterward. Meghan thinking her position is protected shows she's placing her confidence in something that doesn't even exist. Everything is building toward a collision between what she expects and what the Constitution actually allows. Meghan, confident in her legal instincts and Hollywood experience, might soon find out that British law, centuries of royal tradition, and the monarch's absolute authority are walls she simply cannot push through. Experts say her threat to sue isn't just doomed to fail, it could fall apart in a spectacular way. It exposes a huge misunderstanding of how monarchy law and royal protocol really work. And if history is any sign, the attempt wouldn't only fail, it could go down as one of the most embarrassing legal miscalculations in royal history. While Meghan plots her next move, the crown is sitting steady and ready. King Charles has already shown the world how quick he can act, and William is prepared to follow the same blueprint. That means the constitutional fallout for Meghan could be serious if she actually pushes this forward. The boldness of an American duchess trying to take the British monarchy to court is something no one has ever seen before, and experts warn it could hit her harder than she expects, possibly leaving her with even less than she has now. And when her threats leaked, Buckingham Palace didn't break into chaos or panic. Sources say everything stayed calm, organized, and handled with quiet precision, not dramatic shouting or emergency meetings. Instead of panicking, the palace's legal and communications teams handled the leak like just another annoying bump in the road. They've dealt with headlines like this before, so to them, it was nothing more than a small mess to clean up before it turned into a circus. The palace doesn't bargain with storylines. It absorbs the noise, shuts it down, and keeps moving like nothing happened. The public reaction hit instantly. Within hours, UK and US headlines were blasting out phrases like Duchess Markle to sue the future king and American Duchess challenges monarchy like it was some kind of blockbuster moment. Social media went wild too, a full-on digital storm of memes, threads, and sharp comments spinning out nonstop. Some people clowned her over what looked like a confused read on British law, while others questioned why an American citizen would even try to take on one of the oldest monarchies on the planet. Legal analysts weren't any softer either. They broke the story down with pure disbelief, using phrases like legally impossible, constitutional absurdity, and in one brutal review, embarrassing beyond measure. Behind palace doors, insiders say staff briefed King Charles and Prince William quietly and professionally. Both men were calm, steady, and completely unshaken.
What they're saying, what all of us YouTubers and platforms are saying, because you need to do something differently. How does this end well?
They know exactly what powers the crown has, and they understood immediately that any American lawsuit would be not just invalid, but downright laughable. The palace's strategy was simple and sharp. They stayed silent in public and let centuries of constitutional law do the talking. No statements, no warnings, no dramatic responses. The British monarchy doesn't rely on loud reactions. It relies on history, structure, and authority. Everyone inside those walls knew Meghan was on a collision course with an institution built to survive every storm thrown at it. Across the Atlantic, Hollywood jumped into the chaos with its usual loud energy. Gossip sites ran non-stop speculation. Influencers broke it down in their live streams like they were covering a championship fight, and YouTube channels even started countdowns guessing whether Meghan could somehow pull off the impossible. A few supportive voices claimed she had a moral right to protect her title, completely ignoring the fact that moral arguments have zero power inside constitutional law. Others, far less forgiving, pulled out the Andrew situation and broke it down piece by piece. They pointed out that even someone born into the royal family couldn't fight the sovereign's authority, so a courtesy duchess had absolutely no shot. Meanwhile, the legal community didn't bother sugarcoating anything. Constitutional barristers put out blunt statements warning that Meghan's approach was doomed from the start. One senior barrister spelled it out clearly. Royal titles are not assets you can drag into a United States courtroom. The crown cannot be sued, not by a blood royal, not by a courtesy duchess, not by anyone at all. Trying it, he said, would only invite public embarrassment, international mockery, and serious side-eye toward any lawyer reckless enough to represent her. Legal blogs jumped in too, analyzing every word of Andrew's title removal and digging through centuries of precedent to show why her argument couldn't stand. Meghan's position was described everywhere as impossible to defend. But inside the Sussex circle, sources say she stayed calm, at least on the surface. Staff around her allegedly assured her that all the media noise meant she had real influence, and they interpreted every meme, every harsh comment, and every joke as proof that the palace was secretly worried. Some advisors reportedly warned her that taking ridicule as a sign of power was a dangerous misread of how the crown operates. But Meghan's belief in an American-style legal solution stayed strong. She seemed to look at history, protocol and centuries of royal rules not as immovable obstacles, but as challenges she could beat with negotiation, public pressure, or pure celebrity force. The embarrassment around Meghan only grew louder as legal analysts started dropping detailed breakdowns comparing her claims to how fast Andrew's titles vanished. Social media users picked apart her misunderstandings with almost surgical accuracy. They pointed out how she acted like she owned a title that the crown could erase instantly, how she used the styling rules wrong, and how she completely missed the basics of royal authority. Online, the memes came in fast. One showed Meghan standing in a courtroom pointing dramatically at a gavel held by King Charles, with captions clowning her attempt to sue the monarchy itself. Another had her bargaining with a cartoon-style Harry, begging him to support her legal plan, while he looked confused and nervous. Inside the chaos, insiders say Meghan's frustration kept growing. Staff around her allegedly tried to calm her down, reminding her she could still keep her dignity if she stepped back from the legal threat. But she reportedly refused, convinced her American courtroom mindset would somehow pressure the crown into backing down, or at least give her a public win she could spin. The gap between how she viewed the situation and how the law actually works became its own spectacle. Her confidence was pushing against centuries of constitutional structure like she believed she could rewrite the whole system with determination alone. As days passed, the crash everyone saw coming got closer. Palace sources say internal communication stayed active and steady, preparing for anything that might follow, from media narratives to potential diplomatic drama. The palace wasn't scared, just ready, watching the situation unfold like they already knew exactly where it was heading. King Charles and William stayed cool through the whole saga, fully aware that the constitutional system made Meghan's threats powerless from the start. Any attempt to drag this into a courtroom would only put her legal inexperience on blast, making her public stance weaker by the day. The real blow landed when legal experts went fully public and explained in plain language why her lawsuit could never exist in the first place. In panels, interviews, and long op-eds, they stressed that royal titles only live under the monarch's discretion. No one can fight their removal, not even a blood royal, and absolutely no United States judge has the authority to step into British monarchy business. The Andrew case locked that truth in permanently. For Meghan, the space between her plans and real constitutional power couldn't have been more obvious. The storyline she tried to build around strength and determination turned into a warning about what happens when someone misreads royal authority on a massive scale. Insiders say that by the third week, Meghan was privately furious. The palace didn't budge, the courts refused to entertain her claims, and public opinion kept shifting until people began describing her as naive or completely disconnected from how the system actually works. Then came the legal letters, and those hit hard. The documents made her approach look amateur, exposing how far her American legal mindset was from monarchy protocol. They showed she misunderstood the structure, the rules, and the limits of her position. In the end, the bold idea of suing the future king didn't just fail, it flipped back on her in dramatic fashion. What she may have imagined as a smart, strategic power play became a public moment that left her looking embarrassed while the monarchy didn't even flinch. Eventually, palace insiders say the Sussex Circle started rethinking everything. Advisors reportedly pushed her to drop the legal talk completely, switch to damage control, and accept the constitutional reality she had been fighting against. And the message was impossible to ignore. Hollywood tricks, celebrity media moves, and flashy legal posturing will never overpower centuries of royal authority. The crown's power stands firm, built on old structures, careful patience, and rules that haven't cracked under pressure in generations. Trying to challenge it in public was never going to end the way she hoped. And now that the dust is settling, one truth stands out loud and clear. Meghan Markle's attempt to bring an American-style legal fight into the British monarchy collided in the most chaotic way. The palace didn't even blink. Constitutional experts quietly enjoyed the absurdity of it, and the media captured every single misstep. What started as a dramatic legal threat ended up becoming a public lesson carved across headlines and social feeds everywhere. Titles aren't personal property, crowns don't get dragged into court, and even the boldest challenge has limits when it goes up against centuries of solid authority. The palace waits in silence. The world watches the fallout, and Meghan is left facing the echo of her own legal gamble gone wrong. A cautionary moment that people will talk about for a long time. If you want more wild breakdowns like this, make sure you like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.